Trojan fans, welcome to another edition of the Peristyle Podcast on a Monday following USC's 34-24 loss to Notre Dame in South Bend, Indiana. I just got back yesterday, and we're going to talk all about the game with the coach, Harvey Hyde, some of the history, what went right, what went wrong. We'll talk to the coach and get his thoughts on everything USC and ND. If you have questions or comments for the show, and you guys send us a bunch this week, thank you for that. Podcast at uscfootball.com is the email address. You could also shoot us a text. I think we have a text message to get to, or leave us a voicemail, and we got, I think, 4 of those. 424-254-9141 is the voicemail line, and also the line you can send us text messages. And if you have Apple or Spotify, if you're listening to the podcast in that way, you can leave us a 5-star rating for the Peristyle Podcast. We appreciate that. And you can review us on Apple or leave comments on individual episodes on Spotify. And we are also publishing this on our YouTube channel at Inside Troy, so you can see the coach and me chatting all about USC Trojan football. Well, let's bring in the coach. We've been doing this together since 2008. If you can believe that. I'm not going to say you're old, Coach. I think I'm old. But anyway, how are you doing, Coach?
Hey, buddy. Hey, every day I get up and I look forward to another day, baby, and another day of college football. And as I say every week, because it's been this way, I don't know how college football can get any better. It's like a New Year's Day every Saturday afternoon with all the great games and evening games and so on. Everybody, I don't leave the couch. We start with game day, which starts at about 5 or 6 in the morning. I don't know when. And it goes all day to the 9 a.m. games, all day until USC played at 4:30. UCLA played at 4, which is somewhat difficult for me because I'd like to watch both games, but I wasn't able to do that. And then you traveling across country, and poor Ryan sitting in the rain, but you don't sit in the rain. People think you sit in the rain. You don't. You're in a comfortable press box there with your buffet dinners and everything that you
I don't know
eat
about
up there.
that, but
And, just enjoy yourself. Stay at a 5-star hotel. I know exactly how that all works.
If you call the Midway Airport like Holiday Inn a 5-star hotel, sure, Coach. We got free breakfast, but
Well, I started a 5-star hotel because I stayed home. Okay.
Oh, that's true.
No one stood up in front of me. I knew where the bathroom, the refrigerator was there, right close to me. No rain was hitting me. I was fine. Everything. I didn't get down any freeways, and I saw almost every game that was on Saturday. Now that's enough of that.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into it.
Yeah, real quick, Coach. Hold on one second, Coach. I just got a little bit of news. That seemed a little loud, but maybe I'll turn that down. So USC has a bye week coming up. The next game is November 1st. It's an away game at Nebraska in Lincoln. The kickoff is now set, 4:30 p.m. Pacific, 6:30 p.m. Central, and it's going to be on ABC. Third game in a row, USC will be on ABC. So I just wanted to let everyone know about that before we get into this one.
Another 4:30 game. I'll tell you what. Okay.
I like 4:30s, yeah. I mean, I'm going to be there, so it'll be 6:30. A little later there, but yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So, all right, I just don't like those 7:30 and 8 o'clock at night games, okay?
Yeah.
Because I worry about you finding your way home late at night from the Coliseum or wherever you are, getting out of there at 2 or 3 in the morning.
It happens.
But I don't know why I'm in such a good mood after the game and losing in 34-24, but, you got to move on and talk about the next game. If you dwell on it too long, you lose the next game.
Yeah.
So, first of all, they have a disappointing trip, 34-24. They're delayed an hour taking off, so that wasn't good news. At the airport, I don't know why they didn't get cleared or whatever, but whenever those things start to happen, I used to have a lot of superstition as far as what's next. So, first of all, you go into a stadium with so much tradition. And I want to start off by saying there is no way that you cannot have this game continue. I think that I don't know how many people disagree with me or agree with me, but I think it's built into your schedule to be there forever. 99 years, 100 years, should be 120 years that these two teams play. It's a highlight game. It's always going to be a highlight game. Don't even consider canceling it. If you're an administrator at USC, you're crazy to think about it. If you're a football coach, you're crazy to think about it because it is a highlighted game nationally every single year. So let me get that out of my mind because everybody sat there, everybody watched it, everybody loved it. A sold-out house, the whole package. You can't do it any better. More Heisman Trophy winners standing on the sideline than any game any Saturday. So let's get that done. So moving on to the game. Over the last several years, and I won't say how many years, I've talked about physicality being the name of football. If you're not physical, if you don't start being physical, if you don't believe being physical, you're not going to become physical all of a sudden. And I think that's been a pattern that's happened at USC. It's not reading books. It's not having therapy. It's not any of that. It's bringing, you bring your lunch, I bring my lunch, and let's get it going. And what I saw Saturday, I saw it's a battle. It's a war. And who's going to win the battle in this war? And I saw tanks on the front lines of Notre Dame. And I didn't see the same tanks on the front line of USC on either sides of the football to support the infantry which follows the tanks. And I'm trying to describe it in the best way you can describe it. If I have the best tanks getting off the football and knocking you off the football, and I don't have linebackers who can come in and fill those gaps that I've been talking about, I don't know how long I've been talking about it, that linebackers making tackles 5 yards down the field, and you can't allow a back like Love get started. You've got to stop him before he gets started. I don't know how many times you've heard me talk about this. But I'm saying it again, and I don't know how they plan on covering the off-tackle hole when the linebackers aren't getting there. So I'm putting a lot on the defense, not on the players themselves, because they can only play so good. They only have so much talent. That's the way it is. But to not have the same talent level that Notre Dame had on the offensive side of the football and the defensive side of the football, and the linebacker play now being played and has been being played, and you've heard me talk about this, it's very unfortunate because when you run into a team that's physical, when you run into a team that wants to pound it down your throat, there's no answer. They want to hurt you. They want to assume the time of possession. They want to rush the football. They want to take it out of the hands of their quarterback, who really is an average quarterback. Nothing about the kid. He's a good kid, but he's not athletic. He can only throw so much. He runs around like everybody else, but he doesn't have the speed. He can't make things happen by his running ability. So don't even play him as a quarterback. Don't even as a running quarterback. Play him as a quarterback that hands the ball off and throws the ball occasionally, but not good enough to beat you. Okay? So I didn't see that happening on the defensive side of the football, but that'll load to the box. If you didn't stop the run, you aren't going to win that football game. So I'm starting to question a little bit of what's happening on the defensive side of the football. Not that I haven't questioned it before, but Coach Lynn has gotten a lot of raves on what he's going to do and how he's going to stop people. They've reloaded their staff with different coaches and so on. But unless you have the correct alignments and you have linebackers who can fill the gaps, Riley called it the linebackers didn't stunt the right gaps. Well, I don't know if you mean scrape or stunt or whatever you're calling it, but there are gaping holes there where maybe you and I, Ryan, could have run through there. So, I mean, that means is an inefficiency of putting someone in a position where he can't complete his assignment, and there are not adjustments made to make that happen.
Coach,
by one way or another.
I was real quick, and I'm sorry to me that there was a great opening rant. I want to let you keep cooking. I just want to let you cook on this one. But this came up on Tunnel Vision. And you've watched this team the last 5 or 6 years. Like I've watched this team, and I felt like there was talent at linebacker, and that just the whole group never performed. But I felt last year when Matt Entz came in, and they had some veteran guys, Cobb and Mascarenas Arnold, and I thought they produced. There was a lot of production from the linebacker spot last year. And I felt like with Rob Ryan, you were going to get that continuing, even though there's not much experience there. But it's not been the case. Is that from my observation, it just seems like of the last 5 years, like 2024 was like the year that the linebackers played pretty well. Outside of that, they just haven't. I'm not sure why that would be.
Well, I think, first of all, you've been reading the press releases, okay? And all of these All-Americans and up for the Linebacker of the Year award and half-season Offensive Line of the Award and all these things that come out of the Sports Information Office, which I don't know what that proves or anything or how they're getting nominated, but they're sure doing a hell of a job in getting their players nominated for everything. And when you do this and you have all these announcements and so on and you don't play well, it doesn't make you look very good. And you look maybe at coaching. Well, if you have all these great players, what's happening with the coaching side of it? But again, I don't know if it's the coaching side of it. You get an odd defensive line coach that coached Sam Darnold. Well, it's pretty hard to be a bad coach when you have Sam Darnold. So you pump up all the coaches you're getting. But yet you've got to have players. What have I always told everybody out there? If you have players, you can be a pretty good coach. Guys that can find the football, guys that want to hit you hard and hurt you. And don't get me wrong, I'm not talking illegally, but have the ability to do that type of play when you play a team like Notre Dame. Now, you could play pretty good against Georgia Southern or Georgia State. You've heard me talk about that. But, Eric Gentry's a nice kid. I don't even know him, but I don't see him making any tackles on the line of scrimmage. I see him missing tackles. I don't know how many tackles they gave him, probably 100 tackles. If you read their stats, I don't know who does their stats. But he's not in the game. You want a guy in the game, and man, is he good. I mean, remember the great players that have been there and the linebackers that are there. I don't see any linebacker play at all with them. So are they in the wrong position? Are they not the athletes to play like that? I mean, that's not for me to question, except I just watch the game, and I report on what I see on the game. And that's what I see. I think the defensive side of the football is not really, and I know Coach Lynn's a great coach, and he's the highest paid maybe defensive coordinator in the country. But it's a good thing he didn't go to Penn State, because he wouldn't have been there now. So who knows? So you've got to look at everything that's going on. And again, how much involved is the head football coach in the defensive side of the football? He said a couple of years ago he was going to be a complete head football coach. He was going to be on the defensive side of the football. He was going to make sure it's improved. He was going to do this and he was going to do that and so on. How much has he really done to that? I've never seen him go over and talk to Coach Lynn during the game. Maybe you have. You have a better look at it than I have. Or go over to the defense and tell him you're not doing this or you're not doing that. As a head football coach should do. At least I think they should do. And correct and be a part of the entire team. Go on a kickoff coverage, go out and talk to the special teams and say, let's stay in our lanes. Let's don't allow this. Let's don't, be a hero. Just make the tackle or whatever you need to do. You need to be on every phase of the football game. And right now he's an offensive coordinator. And that's what he's been known for, and that's what he wants to stay as, and that's the way it appears to me. And then for the first time after the game, I've heard him say, I made some stupid calls. Well, we've been saying that along the way, too, that we think he's made some stupid calls and passed up points and game management, time management, and all of the different things we've been saying all along. And now, right now, it seems that he is now starting to see these things, and nothing against the man. I've sat with the man and had dinner with him when I emceed the Laurie's kickoff luncheon. He's a nice person. But again, is he doing what's necessary to do without a quarterback like Baker Mayfield, who make things happen, who's the leader of your team? And if I was to ask you, Ryan, who is the leader of the defense? Who is the guy that's going to hit you in the mouth if you don't make the play? On the offensive side of the football, who's the leader? Is it Diego Pava from Vanderbilt? You ever watch him? Does he slide? Does he do anything? Are you going to take him out of the game when you're going to put another quarterback in there and run the keep, Longhurst? Why would you do that? Are you telling me I can't do that? It sort of reminds me as Jaden's hurt or something. They didn't run him one time. They didn't run any keeps. They didn't try to spread the defense with him. They put all the pressure on him as far as him having to make plays, but they took away the running game, and everybody panicked. Oh, my gosh, we can't run the football. They never went to split back sets as they've done in the past. They didn't do a lot of the things they did against Michigan. So and don't worry, Notre Dame would have scouted all of that. But it seems that they got away from their game completely, and they forced him to throw balls in the double coverages. We had turnovers, trick plays that not only, why out trick people? Why not out hit people? And then from that, from a trick play, it turned into a disaster and a fumble that turned the game around again. And passing up points. These are the things I could look at as a game when why you won, why you lost, personnel, coaching, play calling, penalties, which they are very good on, throwing the ball to your tight end, which they did throw the tight end 3 times, rebalance the play out. They got completely away from the balanced offense and defense that they ran because they allowed the run to be taken away. So not only did they allow it, they couldn't run it because they're offensive tanks. Yeah, I call them tanks on your front line. Blow off the line of scrimmage and handle it so the infantry behind, which are your running backs and so on, have a chance. And that's what Notre Dame was doing to USC's defense. Period. And over.
Nice one, Coach. Love it. You said a lot of things in there. One of the things that you mentioned I wanted to bring up, because we've seen Jane Mayava be effective using his legs. And to me, it felt like one of those situations where he's avoiding that like at all costs, and not like he's avoiding it to not get hit. And maybe that's what you think, but like he had that really amazing play where he threw it to Nook Hines and was going to be sacked and got away and got the ball downfield. He doesn't do that a lot, but like Caleb Williams was doing that like kind of crazy. But we've seen him when there's an open lane or something, take off and run. And I felt with the way Notre Dame was so physical on defense, manning up on everybody, that not accounting for him running, like he could have run a few times and sort of softened things up for everybody else. But I know you watched like the guys on the sideline and his body language and all that. Like, what have you seen from him, and any idea why? Is it coming from the coaching staff? Is it they have these RPOs and he just chooses not to keep it every time? Like, what is your assessment of that? Because that seems like a weird one to me. We'll try to ask Lincoln Riley about it this week, but it's a couple weeks in a row he just hasn't run at all. It's almost like he's avoiding it, if you know what I mean.
Well, he's almost avoiding it like he's hurt or injured. They've told him not to run the football. And I don't know if that's a true fact or not, but that's the way they're playing him. Like he's hurt. They don't want him to get hit or this and that. And, like I mentioned a moment ago, if they ever taking me out of the game and bringing in a backup quarterback to run for me, I mean, I would say, timeout. Hey, you're not taking me out of the game when it's the biggest play of the game, or when I go under center to snap the ball that I, at 6'4", 6'5", 220 pounds, can't get a yard. Show some confidence in who we are. But do a rollout of some stupid thing and make everybody look bad. I mean, what are you talking about? You got to show confidence in your players, because your players come off the field with their head dropped. And when he comes off the field, I watch him. The television gives a lot of shots of him sitting on the bench. There's no quarterback coach sitting next to him. He's sitting all by himself, looking up at the TV screen or thinking about it. There's no consoling going on. To me, you got to have that with a quarterback. He touches the ball every single play. He can't hang his head. And he's the type of guy, I think it means constant enforcement of success on, everything's going to be okay. Don't worry about it. Don't stress out. Don't put pressure on yourself. Relax. Like I used to handle Randall Cunningham in a way, okay? I mean, I don't know if he's ever given any opportunity to call a play and say, Coach, I think this play will work. When Randall used to come to the sideline with me and the quarterback coach, and we'd be talking, and I was not the offensive coordinator. The offensive coordinator was in the press box. We had a better view, and he wasn't bothered by everybody, people on the bench, and all his cards were spread out where he could think. He's a play caller. He's not on the sideline with all the confusion going on and all the suggestions that are going on and yelling at the officials for what he got screwed on and all this and that. He's into what his plan is. He's doing surgery. He's a doctor doing surgery. Well, right now, Lincoln Riley's not in that type of situation. But when Randall used to come to the sideline and it was a big play, I'd say, Randall, what do you think? And he said, Coach, I really see it out there. I think we ought to run 125 125 keep pass on this play, make it an option. If not, I'll go for it. I say, Randall, that's a hell of an idea. Let's do that. But in case it's not there, I want you to look to the tight end coming across and a corner route, deep corner route. Do that for me, will you? He says, I will, Coach, I will. I said, go in there and make it happen. And he'd look back at me and give me the fight on or some sign. Go back in the game. Now, he's going to make that play happen because he decided that's the play to call. And if the play isn't there, he's going to make that first down when he ran. He didn't slide. Randall was like Diego Piava from Vanderbilt. Those kids don't slide. And if it wasn't there, he'd look to the backside because if the play wasn't there on the backside, it was my fault because I told him to look back there. So you want to give these guys a word of encouragement that they have some input in the game so they feel a part of what they feel out there on the field that they've seen on the last play. You've got to make them feel a part of that so they come off the field and they say, Coach, this is not going to work. We got to do this because that linebacker is sitting here in the hole or doing this or doing something. You got to involve them in the game planning so they feel a part of what's going on during the game. Because they're the ones that are on the field. You're not. And you're around a bunch of people raising hell, yelling at the officials, watching the clock, trying to keep track of everything. And you can't do it all. It's impossible. You got to spread the love and let everybody be a part of what's going on. That's why I don't see any of that out there. I don't see the leadership on the offensive side. And in most cases, it's your quarterback. It is. Telling guys to huddle up, get them in the huddle, look at everybody, tell them what's going on. On the defensive side, normally it's one of your key linebackers who are walking around swatting guys on the head or face butting them. You know how you do with the face mask. The face mask saying,
Yeah.
hey, this is what we're going to do to the opponent. I don't see any of that.
Yeah. All right. Well, those are a good couple.
How's that as a rant?
Those are a couple of great rants. I love it. It's just we tell Chris Trevino to let Gerard cook when he's just going off on recruiting, and I was like, you know what? This is USC Notre Dame. USC out physicaled Michigan the week before, and then they got out physicaled again in this one. Just a few numbers from there, like Jeremiah Love. 228 yards, most by a Notre Dame player ever in Notre Dame Stadium. No Notre Dame player's ever run for that much in Notre Dame Stadium. And it's the most by a Notre Dame player in this rivalry. So historic night for Jeremiah Love. Notre Dame runs for 306 yards on the ground. USC runs for 68. Not good. We'll look at running numbers. How physical are you? It's tough, Coach, because USC was really physical against Michigan. And then to go on the road and get pushed around, I don't know what you make of that. Because I know a lot of people on our show Sunday night were just like, this team's soft and Riley can't call a game. And he called it a brilliant game, I thought, against Michigan. They were not soft against Michigan, but man, they did not look good against Notre Dame. I don't know how you can go from one week to the next looking that different, but they did.
Well, they did. Again, you got to look at the opponent, and you've got to look at how good Michigan really was. I didn't think Michigan is really a great football team. They played a little bit better this Saturday, but they're a one-dimensional football team offensively also. They got to run the football to win, and their quarterback's a great athlete, but he isn't a great thrower. So they got to win this weekend. It was great to see them bounce back at home and get that win if you're a Michigan fan. But it's a different week every week. And it's hard to, compare teams, but this is a traditional game. It's a rivalry. I think both people, the teams and so on, hate each other during this 3-hour period of time. And you've got to have that feeling in you from day one, from the administration. It means something. You've got to have been a part of it for 50 years. Your grandpa played there. The season tickets to that game is something that's worth the trip back there. The whole thing, it was something that you couldn't get a ticket to go to that game. I don't know if you can or not anymore anyway. But this is huge, and you've got to evaluate when you get beat in a game. You got to evaluate yourself as a football coach, as your football staff, and then evaluate your kids. But maybe you're the biggest problem, not the kids, or maybe we're not doing the right things. So I think that you got to do that first of all, and then you've got to go to the kids and say, all right, like I told you last week or so on, after you've decided maybe our players aren't as good as what we think they are, and we've got to upgrade our players, was I didn't see the same type of player at times on USC side as I did on the Notre Dame side as far as in the trenches. And I'll tell you, they just handled you. They came off the football, and it was great seeing that type of offensive line play. Not that I want to see it against the Trojans, but they were players who wanted to own the line of scrimmage. And USC did not have that ability to do against Notre Dame. You remember me saying that a couple years ago, Graham Harrell saying, when I said, why don't you ever go under center? Well, we don't do those type of things around here. Those type of answers, this came from the same tree, the Mike Lynch tree. We don't do those type of things. Well, there's times you have to do those type of things to make your team tougher and go under and have a goal line package where when it's second or third down on the 5-yard line, you have the confidence by going under center that you could score a touchdown by just out hitting the guy in front of you and knocking it into the end zone. You think that Lendell White or Reggie Bush was so concerned when they couldn't get the ball in, he ran up and pushed Matt Leinart in the back, shoved him into the end zone, but he didn't think he was going to make it. Those are the type of things you've got to be able to think about as far as having the complete package, not telling me or you, whoever asked that question, we don't do those type of things around here. That's all my answer.
All right, Coach, why don't we do this? We got a bunch of questions to get to, so why don't we take a quick break? We will come back and start doing questions. Here we go. All righty, we're back here on the Peristyle Podcast. Got the coach, Harvey Hyde. A lot of questions to get to, like I said, so let's jump right in. We got a voicemail. Our buddy Don is not happy.
Hey, Coach. Don from Chicago. Remember after we got crushed by Illinois, you told me to have a beer or two? Well, I need something stronger now after another beatdown by Notre Dame. When, Coach, is this going to end? This absolute misery and disappointment. Our offensive and defensive lines got crushed. And the play calling by our $10 million a year coach is also a joke. We are so far from being a playoff team. It's unbelievable. And the fact is, neither Illinois nor Notre Dame are frankly that good. Notre Dame can't even throw the football. They handed us the game with their mistakes, and yet we couldn't do anything. Another running back against us, or receiver setting a career record. It is insane, this mediocrity, and I'm sick of Lincoln Riley. He is not the answer. Coach, tell me if you disagree, but I don't think so. Coach, tell it like it is. Don from Chicago.
Okay, Don.
Well, Don, if you had something stronger than a beer, I hope you're sobered up by now. Because it would take that type of thing. You're passionate. I love passionate people. It means so much to you as far as winning and losing and representing your university and so on. I'm proud of you, okay? And I know it eats you out when that happens to you, okay? And you certainly are the type of person that says it the way it is. And I appreciate people that has honesty. And it's hard to say that against a team that or a university that you've been a part of for so long. But there is a lot of things. There isn't one thing that causes losing. It's always like termites. Termites can destroy an entire building. Entire building. It's not big things. It's a lot of little things that are all part of destruction of something. And it's been a period of time over the last several years with the sanctions and the athletic directors and the hiring of coaches and the changing of athletic directors and also the signing of contracts and all the different things that went on, that none of them made sense. Yet they're being all approved by the college presidents and Carol Folt and the regents and so on, as far as it's allowed to happen. We all know this. Ryan knows this. Ryan knows the taking away of the Trojan clubs and all the other things that happened. Why? Why all these changes? Things were pretty good. We didn't need to change all these different things. Why are we changing all these things? And then bringing in the people who are going to make it all right again, not from this area, not knowing the Trojan history, not knowing what it was all about, as far as, the visiting teams always used to bring a white flag so that in the second half they could wave it across the field and say, okay, we surrender. Let us get out of here without hurting our players. That philosophy all went away. And there was a different philosophy that came in there, like, let's do it the easy way. And the easy way never works. You remember that old term I used to talk about, air raid attack? The air raid attack isn't going to win your football games. Yeah, you might win a game or two, but it's not USC. I've said that for the last 10 years. But it's been the air raid attack, and it still basically is the air raid attack. Because you bring people in that don't believe in the toughness and the portion of it, but they come from a different tree, and they don't understand that. And hiring a coach takes somebody that knows who to hire. And I think that's very important, that hiring's got to be somebody that knows football, that knows the type of person that USC needs to win football games. And you got a head coach that believes in what the philosophy is and comes in and understands it from the beginning, not changes halfway through it, or listens to people like myself or reads the newspaper or assistant coaches and say, Coach, we got to run the football. We're not getting it done this way. We got to run the football. He got to know that stuff. So I think it's a combination of the termites, which have been chawing away at it for a long time, and now they're building this big building, which is going to be nice. But is that going to make a difference? Does that win football games? No, it's nice to have and use it in recruiting and say, this is where we're going to break bread. This is our hotel. This is our mansion on campus. No, they don't win football games. I'd rather, get players in there that believe in just lining up. Don't even tape your ankles. Just get out there and hit people.
Nice.
So, let me tell you, it's nice to have a beautiful mansion, but it's who the hell lives in it, okay? It's who lives in that mansion. And until you find out that that's the real answer and you try to beat around the bush and you sit there and you talk about it, ask Penn State how important football is. Ask Florida how important football is. Ask some of these schools how important football is, and you'll know SC right now doesn't think it's that important.
All right, Coach. Let's go to Steve in Pasadena. Got an email. He says, Ryan's first 2 keys to victory point to the line of scrimmage, and we lost on both sides. So he's referring to my 3 keys of victory video. And yes, I had basically USC stopping the run and USC running the ball, and they didn't do either one of those things. But he says, love our skill, guys, but the, quote, outside-in recruitment will continue to lead to USC coming up short. So his question is, going on the road seems to expose a poorly prepared team. Will the bye week ahead of traveling to Nebraska allow for better preparation? Steve in Pasadena.
Well, I don't know. They're a different football team when they play on the road, obviously.
Yeah.
They haven't had the success playing on the road, which they should have. I don't know. I don't know if it's the time the plane leaves. I don't think that makes any difference. I think
No.
It's the way that you prepare for a football game and the philosophy you have all week in the football game. And midway through stream, you don't change your philosophies and so on. Kids are used to having buttermilk, or they're used to having cottage cheese, or they're used to having the whatever it is as far as the training table, the nutrition, and you tell me how they're eating all of these chicken tacos and what all this stuff. That's all great, okay? But it's who's eating it, and it's who's coaching them, and it's what the philosophy is, and the importance of the philosophy. And when I see the athletic director is obviously a very nice person, okay, but she shouldn't be standing on the sideline with her child. I mean, myself is first of all, the child could get hurt. It's like the NFL owners who stand on the sideline the entire time, but nobody would know who he is unless you see him. Jerry Jones is always on the sideline or walking around the field. So is the Atlanta Falcon owner. So is now the Indianapolis owner, who's the daughter of Israel, who takes notes during the game with a headset on the sideline. I mean, you just wonder what these people are doing instead of being in the press box, walking through the media room, welcoming everybody, thanking them for covering our team, hosting boosters as far as in their rooms, going to tailgate area, walking around the tailgate area, thanking people to come, and doing what I think is a duty. I mean, she is going to help the team win now, and I think it's time to, say, the hay's in the barn. It's time now to produce the milk, and that means go out in the field and get it done. Now, I have nothing against her. Nothing against her, but Carol Fulton used to hang out on the sideline. What are you doing down there, college president? You're liable to get hurt down there. I mean, with little pom-poms and, please, and don't come over and talk to me. I'm doing surgery. I'm getting ready for a game. I don't need to have you tell me good luck because tomorrow you might fire me, okay? I just need to have the necessary things to get out here and win this football game for everybody. You take care of your business, I'll take care of my business, and if you don't like it, get rid of me. But give me that opportunity. I want the kids playing for me. I don't want them playing for anybody else. And when you lose the locker room, you've lost the team. You hear that term all the time. So I just watch everything, and I'm very observant on these things because I've been through all of it. I've been through all of it, and it's more or less now a popularity. I want to be seen. I want to do this. Just go take care of business. Take care of your business. We'll take care of our business, and we'll get it done.
I do know Jen Cohen was in the press box. At least I don't know what time she got up there or when she went from the field, but there's a suite next to where the press are. There was a bunch of boosters. Actually, one of them came up to me and said hello and says he likes the show and everything. So I know she was up there then. I don't know what the schedule was, but I did see her after the game, like leaving to go down the elevators.
Well, Ryan, they're coming by to see you. You're a celebrity now around there. You're invited to tailgate parties. I hear you're everywhere.
I do.
You're everywhere now.
A lot.
You've got a free pass to everything.
I don't know about that.
You don't even need a credential anymore.
I did stop by. Our buddy Paul he does a great tailgate with Karen. They put this on together, and a lot of the players' parents go to the tailgate, so it's fun to see them and see. I could go by for a little bit, then I have to go and do my work. But you get there early enough. I tried before the rain started, Coach. I was out there. I was tailgating
imagine.
I was hanging out with the people, eating their food, and before going into the press box, before it rained. Then I saw pictures from Paul, and they were just under the tents afterwards. So.
Let me ask you, how was the food at the press box at Notre Dame?
It was okay. They had a meatloaf thing in the second half I didn't get, but the beginning was like hot dogs and like chicken tenders and stuff. But they had some cookies that were pretty good. There's like a soda machine. It's pretty standard. I wouldn't say anything crazy. The meal part, I didn't get that. There was like meatloaf and I think mashed potatoes or something. Connor got that and he said it was good. But I didn't. My eating schedule wasn't. I didn't eat in the second half there, and they had some pizza afterwards for everybody, similar like what USC does. So there was a lot of pizza, so you could just chow down afterwards if you wanted.
Well, let me tell you something.
Yeah,
you're too young to know this.
Okay.
But when I used to go in the press box years ago at USC, you know what they had there?
What?
A carving station.
Oh,
it's like you were eating at Laurie's. Okay. You'd walk through and he'd say, "How do you like it? Rare? You want an end cut? Here's your mashed potatoes. Oh, you want some gravy on that? You go down, and that's what I think USC is, okay? I want the best press box. I want the best meals for the media. I want everybody to be the best. I want fraternity girls working in the press box as extra credit, walking around making sure you guys have another drink or another Coke or coffee or whatever. I want to make our press box better than any other press box in the world so that when people come back, they say, why can't we be like USC? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm
That's
down.
what you talk about having the first class program. And I'm just saying, a lot of our listeners out there don't ever get in there to understand that. But I do when I walk down there and say, oh, I'm afraid to eat this. This might have sat out all night. And you know what I'm saying. I'm being honest with you.
Yeah.
Or the box lunch or whatever it is. No, I'm not sure just where that came from. It might be leftovers. So, I just think that it should be first class. And a lot of you out there say, shut up, coach, you're talking too much.
That's all right, Coach. Here's another question, voicemail for you.
So we have a big, strong quarterback, and they put in the second-string quarterback, which everyone knew that was going to run the ball. So we have a big, strong quarterback who threw a long pass to our top receiver, and they come back with a trickery play. We have a big, strong quarterback, and it's 4th and a half a yard, and they do some rollout. Okay. Al from Georgia.
Al, I can't argue with you. I can't argue with you 100%. And I don't know how much you make a year for calling plays, but I want you to know he already said it was a stupid play, and it's stupider than what you think it is. Because as I said earlier, when you go into center, you're going there for a bush push, or you're going to prove to people that we can push you back off the line of scrimmage, or you're going to run some type of play in goal line offense with not split receivers, but the extra tackles, bring 2 extra tackles in the game and say, all right, let's practice this. We practice this all week. We're going to get into the end zone, okay? And he's 6'5", 6'4", 220 pounds. He could leap. He could leap and get into the end zone, okay? Stretch out and leap, and the ball's going to be over the end zone, okay? Don't ask me. My wife even asked me that question, and she's never called a play in the game.
Thanks. Yeah, that was a frustrating one for sure for a lot of USC fans. We got a text message from Marcel in the Inland Empire. Not really a question, but he says, our line and our running backs look like high school boys compared to the Irish. To be fair, USC's top 2 running backs were hurt, and you had a walk-on starting. But any thoughts on what Marcel said, Coach?
Well, it's tough to look good when you're running back when there's no hole or hardly any hole, or you're not spreading the field or running a draw or doing something to make them really concerned about you, and you getting beat on the line of scrimmage. So it's very tough. The same kid, King Miller, rushed for over 100 yards, 150 yards or so in against Michigan, because Michigan didn't know who he was and thought maybe a backup was coming in that wasn't very good or whatever, and didn't really take him serious. But they had a chance of taking this kid serious, and they knew they had to take a run, and they manned up, and they said, they're not going to beat us with the pass. They're going to beat us with the run, as they beat Michigan with. And they said, we're going to take the best thing away that they do the best, and that's run the football. And we're going to make them panic. And I think what they did is they did that very well, forced him not to believe in his running game at all. That's why he didn't go for it on 4th and a half a yard or 1. Cost him to make some plays that he would have probably never called if his running game was working. And it came down to the offensive line get knocked back off the football and not having I don't want to say the ability or the teaching or whatever it is that's necessary to do that. I watched the play of some of the offensive linemen, and Sometimes I watched them and I wondered if they knew what they were doing as far as even finishing the blocks. You got to finish a block, and when you're blocking air, I used to say the easiest person to block is a person that's blocking air, that's not hitting you back. Find somebody to hit. And a lot of times, I'm not going to point out positions, but there's some positions they didn't block anybody on any play.
Gotcha. We got another voicemail. We had like 4 voicemails today. It's pretty good.
Hey, Ryan, this question is for the coach. Coach, you've seen enough. Now tell us, what would you do if your defense could not stop the run consistently? How do you fix it?
Oh, hold on.
Can it be fixed? I'm tired of hearing we have to clean this up. I've been hearing that since the Hilton days for our defense. I don't think it can be cleaned up. Is it scheme? Is it talent? Help us, Coach. Curtis.
Curtis, this cleaning up term is something that's come along. I don't know who started it, but this clean up term, I don't really know what that means either. We got to clean it up. I don't know, but what you got to do on the defense is it's just that there's no adjustments. You're not playing well. You got to help. Like right now, I'd have made Notre Dame beat me by the pass, okay? I told you earlier, I think their quarterback is nice kid, non-athletic, can throw the ball only so well. You saw him running around on that stupid play he did there when they were down on the 1-yard line. So he's still a redshirt freshman. I'd make him do that the entire game. I'd just force him into passing situations. I'd have gone on the line of scrimmage in the box. I don't care what I'd have used, 7-man front, whatever. And I said, you're not going to run the football on us anymore. You're beating everybody. You're going to throw the football to beat us. Okay? And I didn't see that happen. He threw the football. Yes, he completed some passes. I saw the yardage and this and that. But you got to take away the run. That's what they want to do. Then they panic. And then it's back on them that, oh, my God, we can't run the football on these guys. We got to throw the football. So you got to take away what a team does best, to confuse them, to throw them out of the rhythm, and all of the above. And that was never done. They saw him running the football. They should have made all kinds of adjustments to make that happen.
All right, we got a couple more, Coach. And oops, let me put the didn't put myself back up on the screen, but I'm here. Michael sent an email. Coach Hyde and Ryan, I want to share my thoughts on Lincoln Riley and get your feedback. Can we all acknowledge that championship college football teams are led by head coaches that are elite at coaching either one side of the ball or whom oversee coordinators who are elite at what they do? I see Riley as a formidable play designer and QB developer. However, I do not believe he's an elite play caller. I don't know about that, Michael. Okay. As evidenced by consistent struggles with clock management and questionable play calls at key moments in the game. We all know as teams from OU and teams at USC have fielded far from elite defenses. How does USC ever achieve elite status as national title contenders when our head coach who calls the plays is not actually elite at what he's being paid to do, and when his track record as a college football head coach proves our defense will never be elite under his oversight either? Before you go, Coach, I would push back on that. I think he's an elite play caller. You watch the Michigan game. He's won 3 Heisman trophies for a guy. You don't do that without being a really good play caller. I think that's the problem, though. He is really good at that, but is he good at the other stuff? But to take away I think you just don't like him. So now you're going to ding the thing he actually does well. But I think he does well. He's not perfect. Obviously, he had a lot of problems. He admitted he had problems in the Notre Dame game. But I would push back on saying he's not a really good play. He's one of the best in the country. USC has the number 1 statistical offense in the country in a lot of metrics still. So I would push back on that. But Coach, you might disagree with me, but any other thoughts on that from Michael?
Well, Michael, you've got to adjust your personnel and know the philosophy of every one of your players. Now, Baker Mayfield, you didn't have to give him any energy, okay? He's a leader. Watch him with Tampa. Watch him. He's going to make it happen. He's a playmaker. He's in charge. You didn't tell him what to do. Even you, Lincoln Riley, didn't tell him what to do on certain things. He did it, and he did it his way on the field. Believe me, he's doing it his way now. You don't take him off the field. You don't tell him he doesn't run the football. And he's not a great, fast guy, but he's a winner. So you have to adjust your personality to who you're coaching. And I think that you've got a quarterback here that has great talent, but he needs tutoring. He needs enforcement of leadership. He needs to be told that he, off the field and on the field, like give you an example. The press conference. I don't know how many people watch the press conference, but you had your two leaders in the press conference. No questions, nobody upset, sitting back bored. Just a different attitude, not mad or upset or just different. So you have to handle him differently. You've got to have him have a lot of confidence on the sideline the whole time, not sitting there by himself and doing what he wants to do. Like I said earlier with the Randall Cunningham thing, you've got to get him involved. And Ramsey, what effect did he have on that game? Really? Great player, but did he make a difference in that game? No. They were complete domination. So then you got to look at the coaching. What's going on over there? Is it our players or is it our coaches? I said that earlier. Or is it a combination of both? And you've got to be able, as a head football coach, to determine that. And you've got to be involved on the defensive side so you know what the defensive personnel is and what the defensive coaches are doing and what their game plan is. And say, I agree or don't agree, or make the adjustment yourself. And I don't think that's happening. I think it's very difficult to do everything unless you're a head coach, not a coordinator, running the game, telling your coaching staffs what they have, what to do. You got 2 downs to get it in here, get it in. Do that type of leadership and console your players on the sideline, your coaches on the sideline. And I said this earlier, get Rob Ryan on the sideline. You need somebody that's got to put a little power, little energy in the defense. I don't see any energy in the defense. I mean, I don't see anybody, I'm not saying grabbing anybody, but I'm saying getting in a face or two or getting emotional. Did you ever watch Ed Ordron or Marv Goo or some of these guys coaching on the defensive side of the football? And Rob Ryan is in the press box, and I don't know what he does up there, but he certainly can't grab or talk to his linebackers on the sideline and give them some type of a coaching tip of why they're getting their butts kicked. So there's a lot of things you got to look at on this. And play calling wise, as far as Lincoln Riley, it's easy to call plays when you have great players, okay? Great players make plays. Yes, you have to run an offense that suits your players. And unless you do that, you're not going to be a great play caller. So you've got to put yourself in a position where your players can execute the plays that you call because they have the abilities and the confidence in what you're calling.
All right, Coach, we got one last voicemail and we'll let you go. Here it is.
Hey, Coach. Don from Chicago.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. That was the one we already played. We had one other one that I must have accidentally deleted. I'm sorry. It was I'll play it for our other show. So my apologies for that. Yeah, that was it was one of those ones where like, I'm going to keep this short and then it just goes on and on, which is funny. But my apologies. I'll have to get it for, we'll do a show on Wednesday. So bye week this week. We're not going to do Tunnel Vision on Thursday or Sunday, but we will do a podcast. Connor and I will do a podcast with India Auto on Wednesday, and I'll play that other voicemail there. My apologies, didn't get to that one. But, well, Coach, good stuff. It was great chatting with you about what's going on here at USC, and USC's got to lick their wounds and get ready for another road trip against Nebraska. They bounced back well after the road loss to Illinois and played well at home against Michigan. Will they be able to do the same thing? Michigan went into Lincoln and beat the Cornhuskers there. Will USC be able to do the same? It's an important game.
Yeah, it's an important game. It's a winnable game. It really is.
Yeah.
If you don't go into Nebraska and win this football game, you're going to lose the locker room. You're going to lose everything. Okay? You might have even, I'm not saying lost it yet. I don't know the feeling in the locker room. But you can't lose this game, because if you lose this game, you can't be talking about playoffs anymore, or winning the Big Ten, or going to the playoffs. It's over. So it's a damn important football game. In fact, you can't lose any more games. So I would say you better prepare for it. I think they're going to be down. I don't think Nebraska, I don't know who they play this week or what, but that was a big loss to them last week.
They played Minnesota and lost, yeah.
Yeah, Minnesota isn't, I mean, they're 5-2, but still, you know what I mean? And I think Nebraska is like 5-2 or 5-3 or something like that.
They've only lost 2, yeah.
Yeah. So it'll be a game that they have to go in Nebraska, and it's not going to be funny. It's not going to be fun. I mean, they're not going to have many friends there. Okay. They take football serious there. You know, they'll hang your dog if you don't win enough games there as a head football coach. That actually happened, once.
Hanging a dog?
Yeah, coach came home. I forget the name of the coach at Green Bay, the Packers. When he got home, they had hung his dog.
Oh my gosh.
That's true. That's true.
That's no bueno.
That is going a little bit crazy, but
maybe a little.
That's what you might call, crazy. You're right. I don't want to call it what I can call it. Okay. Because I'm a dog lover. I'm an animal lover. So.
Yeah, we don't.
All
right,
I'm gonna let you go, buddy. I want to remind everybody too of our show that we do next Sunday morning. There'll be a bye, but we'll be on 2 hours on AM 830.
Okay.
From 10 to 12. I'm going to ask people to join us. I'm going to have a women's football coach on. How about that?
Nice. Awesome.
That'll be good to hear that side of that. So I want to thank everybody for their questions. And remember, mine is just nothing but opinions, and Ryan. So you don't have to agree with us and so on. And Ryan, I hope I'm not jeopardizing your credentials.
No, not at all, Coach. We love it. We appreciate it. Yeah.
Okay.
You want to take pot shots at the AD though, and they were like, come down on me. Like,
well, I'm just. Well, she can maybe tell me, I can do whatever I want. I'm the boss, and that's right. She is the boss.
She is the boss.
And I'm just telling. Did I say something she didn't do? No.
No.
I'm just saying.
I think she's done a great job to fix a lot of stuff. There's been some problems there, but yeah, I think there's not much. You're right though. There's not much she can do now. She loaded everything up, and now it's up to Lincoln to deliver. And now it's
I just want to ask you this. I know Chad Bowden's a good friend of yours, right?
Chad Bowden? No, not. I don't think.
What's his name? Chad Bowden, right?
Chad Bowden, yeah.
Yeah.
We're not good friends.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know that.
Well, I know him, but I'm not. I wouldn't say we're good friends.
I'm afraid to bring that up. Then what I was going to say. Okay.
Okay, Coach.
We'll let you go, everyone. Have a great week. Okay. Ready, break.
All right, Coach, trying to get me in trouble here. All right. Well, that's Coach Harvey Hyde. I'm Ryan. Hope you guys enjoyed the show, and we will talk to you next time.